after going back and rewatching the Vikings-Ravens Week 10 matchup, I can truly say it. This loss versus the Baltimore Ravens just got 100 times worse. And after going back and watching the film, going back and seeing how this Vikings team played, I am incredibly disappointed. For the biggest reason that some of the main issues that have been circulating around this Vikings team the entire season came to fruition yet again. And this coaching staff, Kevin O'Connell, they seem to just not make any adjustments, and the same problems have been following this football team throughout the entire season. And obviously the biggest issue from today's game was the 8 false starts. And the Vikings having 8 false starts are tied for the second most in a game by a home team since the 2005 Rams. It was that bad today. And, you just get behind the 8 ball, get yourself in the 1st and 15, 2nd and 15 over and over again. And how many times did it feel like the Vikings, all right, you had a couple of drives starting, you had a couple of positive plays, you were able to move the ball, pick up 2 first downs. It's like, all right, false start. Then you can't do anything. And it's just tough because when you do have a quarterback like J.J. McCarthy, 22 years old, obviously he's still a huge work in progress. It was his 4th career start. I didn't think J.J. was that good today. Had a couple of big-time throws, but he also had a couple of really bad moments where he's sailing passes. It almost feels like McCarthy gets way too jacked up in some of these big-time moments where he just starts sailing the ball over receivers' heads. But, I mean, Kevin O'Connell, I put that on him with the penalties. 13 penalties for 102 yards. It was just bad. And, what is also so frustrating with this Vikings team and why I just, this loss really does sting is because it's not like the Ravens, really beat you. You beat yourself. This Ravens win really felt like to me like the old school Brady Patriots, where it was like, hey, they're just going to do just enough to put them in position to go win a football game, and you're just going to let the other team just combust. And that's what the Vikings did. They combusted today. They pretty much just kept shooting themselves in the foot over and over again. And, when you have 3 turnovers, 8 false starts at home, you aren't going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Because what did the Ravens do? They didn't try to do too much. They just said, hey, we'll stick with the game plan. Let Lamar Jackson make some big-time plays in a couple of big-time spots. Derrick Henry, it's not like he really got going at all today. 20 carries, 75 yards, but they didn't put themselves, or I guess they didn't allow themselves to kind of be ultra-aggressive, where they just played very conservative. Because, almost the Ravens today, you could feel the confidence, where they were saying, hey, even though we're down 10-9 at halftime, we'll just still do our thing. We're not going to panic. We're going to stick to the game plan. And we're just going to let that Vikings team, coming off a very emotional victory, just beat themselves. And that's also another thing. The Vikings are just the typical emotional letdown team. You have this amazing win against the Detroit Lions. And just Kevin O'Connell, you just can't get your team, ready to play the next week. Because this is also why I truly believe under KOC, it is going to be so hard for this team to go on a playoff run. Because you'll have a big-time win, but then you can't follow it up the next week. I don't think the Vikings have won multiple playoff games, and this isn't just a Kevin O'Connell stat. This is, every head coach since 1988. I think that was the last time the Vikings won multiple playoff games in a single season. That's that bad. But today was just embarrassing out of the team. And also, the Kevin O'Connell short yardage play calling, it's an absolute disgrace. And shout out to Phil Mackey for tweeting this out. This was during the game, but Kevin O'Connell should be embarrassed by this. The Vikings, when they pass on 3rd or 4th and short, 2 yards or less, they are 4 of 19 this season. So just that alone, terrible. Because clearly his play design, his play calls, they just don't work when it's 3rd and short or 4th and short. 4 for 19. That's 21%. That might be historically bad. But what makes that worse is when they run the ball on 3rd or 4th and short, 2 yards or less. They're 10 of 14. That's 71%. That's a good average. That's probably top of the league in that statistic. But yet again, the Vikings, they refuse to run the ball on 3rd and short and 4th and short. And that drive in the second half, the first drive, Aaron Jones, 17-yard run. Able to pick up a first down. You got the ball right around midfield. And it's 3rd and 1. I understand you want to take chances. You want to be aggressive. But you go play action, try to uncork a 40 or 50-yard bomb, and I get it. The best wide receiver in the world, you want to get him the football. He tripped up. Jefferson had a bad game. And I'll talk about Jefferson here a little more in a second. But just the idea, that you are going to throw the ball in that spot is so frustrating because, guys, this isn't like something where I'm like, I'm getting up here and criticizing Kevin O'Connell just on this one-off game. This has been an issue the entire season. We've been talking about this for not even just this season, for years under Kevin O'Connell. He is a one-trick pony. But now I think the league, it's starting to figure him out a little bit. And that win against the Lions last week, that was because of Brian Flores and J.J. McCarthy making some clutch plays. Kevin O'Connell had some good play calls in there, but it's not like he's not a Kyle Shanahan. He's not a Matt LaFleur. He's not a Sean McVay, Andy Reid. He is just on that next tier. Is he even Shane Steichen? I don't know. I hate asking this question, but I mean, because it does feel very week to week, very reactionary. But again, when the same problems happen every single week and nothing gets changed, like, I don't know. And also, listen, before we get to the rest of the show, I would not be as frustrated about this loss if, let's just say, it was like Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. They just went like Superman cape. And it was just like, all right, we just lost to two all-time great talents. Like, Lamar had 300 total yards, 4 total touchdowns. Derrick Henry ran for 200 yards. Like, if that was the case, then, okay, I could just tip my cap. But, like, this game was very winnable. The Vikings beat themselves, and you're at home, 8 false starts, 12 total penalties. That's on the head coach. So you guys let me know. Is KOC on the hot seat? Give me a Y for yes, give me an N for no. I want to close out today's show, though, talking about Justin Jefferson, so stay tuned for that. But today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Now, the hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. And the weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Download the PrizePicks app today and plug in that promo code CONS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, and you guys can pick up to the same player 3 times in the same lineup. So, for example, if you want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, now you can't pick all of them in the same lineup only on PrizePicks. You guys can also follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in just one click. When it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new Feed tab on PrizePicks. So download the PrizePicks app today, plug in that promo code CONS, get hooked up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Promo code CONS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, Justin Jefferson. Never thought I would be, getting on a video and, calling him out or criticizing his play, but I mean, he is held to the same standard as everybody else on this team, and he's honestly held to a higher standard than anybody else. And I thought Justin Jefferson was just piss poor today. Number one, hit 12 targets, 4 catches. JJ was not giving him a lot of chances on a couple of those, but also a couple of those he had a chance. And what kind of really bothered me with Jefferson is you saw him getting frustrated, and you saw his emotions getting the best of him, kind of yapping on the sidelines, not really showing like he was fully locked in. He kind of just seemed, checked out. Have you ever seen like one of your buddies where they're kind of just staring into nothingness? Like that kind of looked like Jefferson on the sideline a couple of plays. And then he also had that deep end late in the third quarter, which could have been a huge play for this football team. It would have been a tough catch over the middle of the field. You're about to get hit, but if you're the best receiver in the game, if you're one of the best receivers of all time, you go and make that catch. And I respect Jefferson so much for never, being a diva, never calling anybody out, and I'm sure he is frustrated. Today he was bad, and just so many plays, like the interception JJ threw, he put the ball in the right spot. Like, he put it right where Jefferson was supposed to be. On that deep post, listen, the play call was awful, but the play design and the execution from the quarterback was there. He had the best receiver in football one-on-one running a deep post on Marlon Humphrey. And Jefferson, it's not just that he got slipped up. You guys can kind of see his body weight or his body movement. He kind of hesitated a little bit, and he pulled up on it. And I don't know if he didn't expect to get the ball or he didn't think JJ was going to throw it to him, but I'm pretty sure that play call is probably designed for number 18 to go get it. So I thought today he was just bad, and even just him, like, I thought he was getting held a couple times, and they didn't call it, but he was just complaining a lot, which you never really see him do. Like he'll complain for a PI here and there, but it was like 4 or 5 times today where I just felt like the Ravens secondary, they're trying to get under his skin, and that kind of seems like to be the MO to stop Justin Jefferson, the game plan where it's like, hey, let's get under his skin, let's get really physical with him, let's even get his emotions going because, the Ravens clearly did that. If you guys remember, like Jair Alexander, I think the best corner to ever guard Jefferson one-on-one, that was his MO. He was like getting up, press man coverage, I'm going to talk noise to you, I'm going to get you off your game. That's kind of seemed like what the Ravens did today. A very physical football team, especially on the perimeter. Like today was weird. Like you just felt disappointed in number 18, which I never thought I'd say. But he was bad, and I think he let his teammates down. I think he wasn't a good leader today. And when you're getting paid $35 million a year, you kind of have to be a leader. And the Vikings superstars today weren't superstars. Like you got an unbelievable game from Jalen Naylor, and it was just for nothing. Like Naylor, it wasn't just like the production. Like it was the plays he was making. Like that one 4th down catch, the concentration he had to haul that in. It was amazing. On the first drive of the game, that 62-yarder he had, that was a hell of a route. That was on Marlon Humphrey, right over the shoulder, late hands, bounces off him, takes it up the left sideline for 62 yards. Like Speedy was great. I thought defensively, the Vikings, they just kept on fighting and kept them in this game. And that's also kind of ties it back into Kevin O'Connell here. Like Brian Flores' unit over the last 2 weeks after getting embarrassed by the Chargers, they have played like a team that got embarrassed. So I got all types of respect for the Vikings defense. But the Vikings offense, they have not played like that. They play like how kind of Kevin O'Connell is the coach, where they started complaining a lot. They started letting their emotions get the best of them, like Adam Thielen acting like a 4-year-old child on the field today. That was frankly embarrassing. And I mean this more as a credit to Brian Flores and what his side of the field has done. Like you see the emotion, you see the tenacity and how locked in they are. Really, really impressed with the defense today. But overall, I thought this team was just I guess one stings, man. And I hate to be very reactionary and that guy, but it just sucked. Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, bad games. J.J. McCarthy, bad games. 8 false starts at home. This one stings. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, we appreciate you. Send me the skull down below in the comment section. We'll get on out of here. As always, Skull Vikes.